welcome. It is so good to be here. I hope you are having the most amazing day so far. We are talking about bloating in perimenopause, why it happens, how we're going to fix it permanently so you're not living with this. My name's Tori. If we don't already know each other, I'm a women's integrative nutrition and lifestyle coach. I'm also a functional weight loss specialist. On today's topic of bloating in perimenopause, why it happens and what we can do about it. You'll know about this topic if you've ever woken up in the morning and thought, I look pretty good today, and then by 3 p.m. you look like you're going to have a baby in a week. Yeah. And you might have tried to seek help for it, and you might have been told, well, this is just what it's like in perimenopause. You get bloating. So then you might have become your own health detective, and you might have cut out gluten, and you might have cut out dairy, and you might be eating low FODMAP, and you might be, trying to cook everything just right, and you are still bloated and still frustrated and upset. You might have spent a fortune on probiotics and enzymes and all the supplements and still getting nowhere. Well, if that's you, this training is for you, especially because I don't want you to suffer anymore. I want you to understand what's going on. Because this is going to steal your confidence. It changes how you dress. It changes your willingness to be in photos for your amazing soul-led business. So many women who come to me for help are soul-led business owners. They're on this earth with a big purpose, a big job to do. And yet they don't want to go in front of the camera because they don't feel good about how their tummy looks. They get bloated and distended and their clothes don't fit right. Maybe you don't want to be in photos with your family. We don't want that either. We want you feeling confidence. We want you shining your light to the world. We want you saying yes to the dinners and the networking events and the speaking opportunities. All right? Because you being held back does not serve this earth. So let's change all of that. All right? So the first thing I want to talk about today is that oftentimes this bloating that we're getting is actually not a food problem. It's a terrain problem. It's a problem with the gut environment. So those of you who tried to cut out gluten and cut out dairy and cut out those common irritants, what you might have done is you've eliminated so many foods that now you've shrunk down to eating about 6 things that you feel are safe. And you might have spent a whole lot of money on solutions and supplements, and you might be reading lots of labels, but still getting nowhere. The bloating is still there, and it might feel like it's getting worse than even when you started. So this is a digestive symptom on the surface, but what's going on is not just digestive related. It can be hormonal related, related to systemic inflammation. It can be related to the nervous system. It can be, all these symptoms that are going on might be presenting in the digestive system, but going on in other systems of the body. Largely, I want to talk about today hormonal and biochemical factors. All right? Because when you understand, if I explain this to you and you understand what's actually going on underneath the bloating, then you'll stop trying to eliminate foods and throw supplements at it. And you'll stop blaming your body for reacting to everything. And that's what I want. I don't want you blaming your beautiful body, because your beautiful body is always, I promise you, always trying its best for you. And it's often struggling in the conditions it's being asked to live in. So if we start understanding the real drivers and addressing the drivers, addressing the terrain, the hormonal terrain and the gut environment of the nervous system, right, and the biochemistry, that's when the bloating's going to resolve. Okay? Are you guys on board with that? If you are, give me a thumbs up or give me a little, I don't know, little kiss or something like that. Let me know you're still here and you're still following. We want to look at the drivers, okay, which are not always digestive drivers. Okay, so I want to talk about the hormonal drivers first, because nobody really talks about these, and that's because very few people actually understand them. So we understand that in perimenopause, our hormones are both declining and fluctuating. Both of these things are true. But a lot of women feel like there's nothing we can do to support them. so it's a more comfortable experience, and that's not actually true. We can support our hormones, and our hormones have a direct mechanical effect on our gut and our bloating. I want to talk about 4 specific things that are hormone related that are interrupting our digestion and causing the bloating. And the first thing I want to talk about is our progesterone levels, because progesterone is our calming, regulating. Rachel's here. Good morning. It's so good to see you, gorgeous. Progesterone is your calming, regulating hormone. It's also a hormone that impacts gut motility, how quickly food moves through the digestive tract. When progesterone starts to decline in perimenopause, which it's not supposed to decline as quickly as it does for most women, but it is supposed to decline. Many women, it's declining early. It's dropping off very fast. For some women in their late 30s and early 40s. And when it does, the impact on the gut is, well, it can be a few things. For some women, some women it can mean slower transit time of stools. And for some women, it can mean increased transit time of stools. But for a lot of women, it means the food is sitting around longer, fermenting in the digestive tract, and gas can accumulate. So this is one mechanism for how we can accumulate, that bloating, that distended feeling. And bloating just feels like it's normal and an everyday thing, but there's things we can do to support this, okay? Now, estrogen is also impacting this. So I just talked about progesterone, but estrogen's impacting it as well. And estrogen drops off, but it also fluctuates. It's the fluctuation that causes a lot of discomfort in perimenopause for a lot of women. It's also kind of everywhere through our digestive tract, because we use our digestive tract, of course, to clear excess estrogens. If you are very mindful about your diet and you're eating a diet that's very supportive of gentle estrogens in the body, you may not have too many problems. But if you have not been very mindful of your diet, if things have been quite imbalanced, then you will also have an imbalance of gut bacteria. You will have potentially an excess of opportunistic gas-producing bacteria in your microbiome. And so the terrain in your gut has shifted. And maybe foods that used to be okay for you, now when you eat them, you get a lot of problems. And so women might say, I eat the same as what I was always eating, but I'm still bloated and I just react to everything. So the environment in your body has changed. The hormonal shift has revealed some dysfunction. Okay, I just want to talk about cortisol now. So I've done progesterone, estrogen. I want to talk about the impact of cortisol. Cortisol, our stress hormone, a hormone that gives us energy as well. For a lot of women in perimenopause, it's chronically elevated. And I talk about this all the time and the problems it can cause. But I don't very often touch on the impact on the digestive tract. Because cortisol is actually actively creating an enhanced intestinal permeability. We call that leaky gut out there in society. Yeah, you guys heard that? Oh, I've got a leaky gut. Well, in functional medicine, we call it enhanced intestinal permeability because the lining of the gut is meant to be permeable, selectively permeable. It's not supposed to have gaping holes in it, but a lot of people do. Why? Well, one reason is cortisol. Now, it's a problem for a few reasons because it creates holes in the gut, but it also, chronically elevated cortisol is also slowing down digestive function, because when your nervous system thinks it's in danger and under threat, digestion is not a priority. And your body will have different priorities, like making your heart pump and pumping blood to your periphery so you can run and get away from the threat. That's why we call sympathetic nervous system state fight or flight. Run, fight, flight, hide. And we call the other primary state parasympathetic rest and digest, because rest and digesting is the priority when we're relaxed. When we're under threat, the priority is running away and never digesting our food. So if you are stressed all day long, you ain't going to be digesting well. and the food is not going to be broken down well and it's going to try to move through the digestive tract, but it's not digested. It's not completely broken down. The proteins haven't been separated from the fats and the carbohydrates appropriately. It hasn't been broken down into micronutrient level particles, and it's trying to get through the gut. But the particles are too large. They actually cause a lot of wear and tear, and they can cause all kinds of issues. And the immune system can cause inflammation. All because you got so stressed. So this is a big problem. Round and round it goes. Because then you've got, you've got potentially, because you've got a leaky gut, you also then have enhanced, histamine levels in the gut, and then you're going to be a little bit more anxious. And then because you're more anxious, you go even faster and you panic even more and you don't chew. Around and around she goes. Which brings me to the next thing I want to talk about. I just want to talk about histamine, because this one is not talked about very often, but it has a very strong connection to bloating. We often talk about histamine in relation to allergy type reactions, which is true. But we want to talk about it with relation to bloating as well. Now, histamine can be a big problem for women in perimenopause, because in perimenopause with estrogen sometimes in excess relative to progesterone. Yes, I know our estrogen is getting low. That's true, but it's still higher than progesterone, which is a big problem. We call that estrogen dominance, even when estrogen is low. Now, estrogen, when it's in excess, it downregulates an enzyme called diamine oxidase that helps us break down histamine. I know that's a little bit technical. Don't worry about it. I explain this more when I do 5-day challenges. I explain this a lot more in the Radiant Health Reset. We talk about histamine all the time because it's such a big problem for so many women, and we teach women how to overcome their challenges with histamine. But the point here is, in perimenopause, unless you are, quite strategic and moving through perimenopause with a plan, you can struggle with excess histamine in the body, and the histamine can accumulate in the gut. It drives a lot of inflammation. It drives a leaky gut. It drives this enhanced intestinal permeability I was talking about, and it drives bloating. And that's why some women notice that the bloating is accompanied by flushing and hives and headaches and anxiety and skin reactions like eczema on the eyelids. Anyone here? So common. So many women come to me complaining of this horrible eczema, perioral dermatitis that they get on the face, eyelids, around the mouth, dry, horrible, uncomfortable, painful skin. Okay, so your gut can't clear histamine well if you haven't been really onto your diet and lifestyle choices, if you haven't been maintaining balance, and you really need to heal from that. Okay, so those reasons that I just named, declining progesterone, declining and fluctuating estrogen, the chronically elevated cortisol, and the excess histamine your body's not managing well, those are 4 hormonal and biochemical drivers of bloating. Okay, that are separate and aside from food irritants, because you probably already tried that because you're not a dummy. You tried to eliminate gluten, right? Yeah? Okay. Now, so that's all of those things I just explained. That's why you didn't have bloating in your 30s, but you have a lot of bloating now, right? A lot of women are developing food intolerances suddenly they never had before. It's not because you're an old fart and you're falling apart. I know it feels that way. It's because your hormonal profile changed and revealed a lot of dysfunction. Okay, so perimenopause didn't cause this problem. I know it feels like that, but perimenopause didn't actually cause this problem. What it does is it exposes gut dysfunction. It unmasks it. So those underlying gut issues that I've talked about, they've probably been building for years, maybe even decades, but you didn't notice it. Okay, so usually underneath, going back a few years ago, you probably had dysbiosis and SIBO, or small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, and you probably had a leaky gut, and you probably had low stomach acid. But those things are becoming exacerbated now because you don't have this beautiful hormonal buffer of plenty of progesterone on board and plenty of estrogen on board. If you feel like, and I completely understand why you would feel like this, but if you feel like my gut was totally fine until perimenopause, well, it probably wasn't, but it felt like that because it was compensating beautifully for a lot of your crappy lifestyle choices. I just want to be really honest about that. And I don't say that to upset anyone. I say it because it's the truth. You got away with a lot of things that weren't compatible with a healthy body. That's great. You got away with them. We can't get away with them anymore in perimenopause and menopause. We have to keep our choices aligned with optimal health now if we want to live a symptom-free life full of vitality and energy and the nice flat tummy that we desire. Okay? So this is actually really good news. I know some women grieve the crappy lifestyle choices. They go, I love schnitzel and wine. It's not fair. I want to eat schnitzel and wine every week. I know, sweetheart. I know. Take your time to grieve. I won't judge you. And then we can put our big girl pants on and we can move forward without those things that are harming our internal environment, okay? Because now we know, now we're educated and we know what to address. You are very welcome, by the way, in the comments to tell me if you're having a little bit of sadness over that. Your wine, your schnitzel, I don't know. One of those things that was actually contributing to a whole lot of dysfunction. Yes, dysfunction is the word I'm looking for. This is actually really empowering information once we grieve our old choices. It's really empowering information because it means we don't actually have a sensitive stomach. What we had is a gut environment that compensated for a lot of crappy choices, but now it won't anymore. It probably should have always been like this, but our species is designed, can't talk today, our species is designed to compensate for our crappy choices so that our species will survive. Only while we're in our fertile years. And then it doesn't matter anymore, right? Such is life. All right, so you know what's happening underneath now. Are you guys still following? It's okay, nobody's crying in the corner about the schnitzel and wine. Give me a thumbs up or give me a love heart if you're still here with me. Okay, I want to talk about some of those habits that are making it worse. Little everyday things that people do. Because if you change these things, you'll probably begin to get some relief, okay? Because the thing is, if the hormonal terrain has shifted, which it has in perimenopause, and your gut underneath was always compromised, our little day in, day out, every moment choices matter more than they ever did before because you can't get away with crap choices anymore. All right, Jessica's still with me. Yay! I'm so glad. Okay, because they'll make your life experience a difference between being manageable and being just awful. So let's commit to some change because this is all stuff that's within your control and you don't have to go and really spend any more money on this stuff, okay? So eating too fast is a big problem. Women who try to inhale their lunch at work, don't do that. They try to eat in front of a screen. Oh my gosh, women who chug down toast and a coffee while they're in the car driving a partner to work or driving themselves to work. You gotta stop. Your gut can't keep up with that. This is no good. I want you to slow down and I want you to chew. Do you know how powerful chewing is? I've changed women's lives by getting them to chew their food, like properly changed their lives. Sometimes it's the missing puzzle piece to reversing disease. Believe it or not, don't dismiss it because it's too simple. Simple works. How do I know? Because I built a whole freaking business on simple. So slow down, chew your food. I want to say as well that at this time in your life, you might need to take a little bit of a break from a lot of raw foods. Just now might not be the time for it. And perhaps just really watch those high FODMAP foods. Yeah, I know these are all really healthy foods. I'm not saying cut them out altogether. I'm just saying when your gut is a little compromised, you don't want to overwhelm it. Like if you're eating a massive raw salad, that could be quite a bit harder to digest at this stage in your life than eating some, say, beautiful roasted veggies or steamed veggies that you took to work with some protein. On the high FODMAP foods, like if you're eating a lot of apples on their own and you're eating a lot of stone fruit. I think in our part of the world, if you live near me, there's not a lot of stone fruit around right now anyway. If you're overdoing it on your lentils and your chickpeas, or overdoing it on your garlic and your onion, just hold back. I know those things are delicious and they're really good for you, but just for now, just hold back a little bit. This isn't forever. It's just a strategic move so that you can have a little bit more discomfort while you rebuild your terrain. Once you've restored your gut integrity, you can reintroduce those foods and you'll have no issue with them at all. Alcohol. So alcohol is a big problem. You want to cut that out, especially if it's an everyday habit. You actually want to cut out even what people call moderate amounts, which I think I sometimes see women's journals and go, I wouldn't call that moderate alcohol. It seems excessive to me. It directly damages your gut, and it feeds that imbalanced gut bacteria. So if you are struggling with bloating, if you cut that out, you'll be doing a wonderful job for your body. The other thing I want you to watch is stress at meal times, because it's directly down regulating the acidity. It's actually sending the pH up. Makes it sound like it's very acidic, but it's actually the opposite. If your pH is low, then you have a very acidic stomach. But yes, stress is impacting the pH of your stomach, and you can't digest properly. If you're eating while you're stressed, or you're eating at your desk at work, your body is back in that fight or flight response we talked about before, where it thinks it needs to run and hide and fight, rather than rest and digest. So I know it feels like you're multitasking. I'm guilty of that too sometimes, but I think the majority of the time we really need to be just taking a break. All right. So those few little tips I just gave you, they're free. They're not going to cost you anything, and they'll help a lot. Chew properly, sit down, a few deep breaths. Don't be stressed while you're eating, because digestion starts up here. That's what I tell my Radiant Health Reset ladies. Digestion starts up here. If that makes no sense, come join the Radiant Health Reset. I'll explain it all. All right, so bloating in perimenopause is not so much a food problem. It's more to do with your internal terrain, your internal environment. You can shift your internal environment, you can heal. It's actually all within your control to do. You support your hormones, you heal your gut, you bring down the amount of inflammation in your body, and you watch your nervous system state, which might be your mental, emotional stress that's contributing to a sympathetic nervous system state, and you'll be hunky-dory. Now, we're actually doing this work exactly in the Radiant Health Experience. I know you thought I was going to talk about Radiant Health Reset. Haha, gotcha. I'm talking about the Radiant Health Experience, the incredible 6-week program, small circle group coaching, very small number of women who will get the support from 2 health practitioners. Even though our weekly calls start in July, Kate and I were feeling generous. We've opened the container already. We are 50% sold out, even though we only just opened the container. If you want to join our 6-week small circle, lots of personalized support, personalized strategy for you, you get one-on-one attention from Kate and I. So we open the container now. We officially start our weekly calls with the group in July, but we started supporting our early members right now because we want to help them get to their goals ASAP. And we have that incredible retreat in the heart of this program. The dates are the 6th and the 9th of August in the Sunshine Coast hinterland, in the most luxurious, beautiful location. Danielle's been there. She wants to go back. If this sounds like something that resonates for you, that would be delicious for you, then please let me know. I want you to type the word experience here in the chat, maybe big capital letters to get my attention. Either myself or one of my team members will reach out to you. So have a look in your inbox, type experience in big capital letters so that we can get you the link to a little bit more information and talk to you about what is involved. We'll walk you through it. All right, I'm wrapping up for today. Your perimenopausal bloating, why it happens, it's happening because of those factors that we named, the hormonal factors, but also your day in, day out choices. How to fix it? You can begin by making different choices. But ultimately, long term, what you want to do is work on those root causes, fix the terrain. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. I absolutely can't wait to see you next Tuesday, beautiful souls. So I will see you then. Bye now. Have a great day.